about a growing force in the micro brewing movement. Female power, Patty. That's why I've got you.
Girl power.
Joining me during this segment. Years ago, I managed the Lost Coast Brewery Cafe up in Eureka, California. You've heard me mention that, Patty. And at that time, my employers were two of the only women in positions of power in the U.S. beer industry. We're talking owners or brewmasters.
Wow.
But that is slowly changing, and now there are a couple of large groups. At least one is a worldwide group to celebrate women in beer. One known as the Pink Boots Society focuses on women who work in the industry because brewmasters always wear these rubber boots as they walk around the facilities. And another known as, and I just love this name, Barley's Angels, playing on Charlie's Angels.
That is awesome.
Helps educate the female beer consumer. Our next guest, Christine Jump, belongs to both and is the new director of Barley's Angels. Christine, welcome to the program.
Hi, Randall. I'm happy to be here.
Well, you have a big event coming up it's in 2 weeks, right?
Yes, it is.
And it is right outside Salem, Oregon, and it'll be a large gathering of women in beer and taking a look at where it's like farm to bottle, right?
Right. Yeah, there have been a lot of these farm-to-table feasts in the area where we live, where restaurateurs are showcasing farm fresh fare, and they have these big dinners right at the farm. Well, Rogue Ales grows their own hops and barley, and I thought, well, gosh, that takes it one step farther, all the way to the bottle. And so I've talked with some people at Rogue Ales, and they've agreed to let us have an inaugural event celebrating women in beer at their hop farm. And they sure know how to throw a party, because I've been to some of their parties before and couldn't be more excited about what we've got going on out there.
Well, I love that you said inaugural event. So that means, you plan on having more of these, and B, you understand that it's not called a first annual.
That's a good point.
All right. So, Patty, you are a woman who really enjoys craft beer.
Yes, I am. Thanks for outing me, Randall. No.
This would be the event for you then.
Oh, it sounds so much fun. And, my brother is a beer drinker. Randall was saying, Patty, you'd love this event. And I said, think of how much my brother would love it. Women and beer. Like, what's not to love?
Right. So do you primarily attract a crowd that works within the beer industry, or are you really spreading a much larger tent?
We really do spread a much larger tent. I aim at and talk with women who don't know beer very well and just want to learn more about it.
Oh, okay. And so now you have a series of scheduled speakers, one of whom was just on our show, the beer goddess herself, Lisa Morrison. Well, we love when she joins us on the show.
She is so fun to listen to.
Yeah, great energy. And the topic she had with us today is the same topic she will share with the attendees, and that is the proper glassware for beer drinking. But you have several others in the lineup as well.
Yes, I do. I've got Terry Ferendorf, and she founded Pink Boots Society. And she's kind of famous for a vacation she took traveling across country, where she stopped in at breweries and guest brewed and shared craft beer. So she's going to talk a little bit about, how to work a craft beer experience into your vacationing, whether it's a craft beer vacation or or just including that experience into your vacation.
My problem is I don't know how to not work craft beer into my vacationing experience. Okay, so and now let's run down the list. Who else do we have?
We've got Julia Hertz, and she is the craft beer director at the Brewers Association. And I'm so excited about hers, because she's going to teach share with the women some real hands-on tactical things that we can take home with us and use. We'll have a variety of foods, cheeses, sour things, meats, and taste them with different beers, and she's going to walk us through how to pick up the flavors and how to properly pair beer so it's not a disaster.
Yeah.
And this is all hands-on. I mean, everybody's going to be sampling a myriad of beers and a myriad of fine cheeses and fruits and whatnot with her selections.
Mostly locally produced there?
Yes. In fact, Rogue has their gal out there that runs the hop farm is sourcing as we speak from the local neighborhood farms and as well as the Rogue Hop Farm.
Years ago, I used to anchor the news in Medford, Oregon, on the CBS affiliate there, and I lived in Ashland. And if my memory hasn't deteriorated,
I wonder if it has
too much, I seem to remember there being like a rogue ale house right on the creek there in Ashland.
I think you're right. That was a while ago.
Yeah, and I certainly remember. I know Rogue Ales very much, and they're delicious beer. I just can't remember. I think there was one. I think it might have been wiped out by a flood, and then I'm not sure they chose to. I think they moved their operations. But yeah, the Rogue Brewery, they just are one of the stalwarts of the microbrewery movement. So I'm glad to hear that they're behind all this.
Oh boy, some of the best beer in the country, and this thing really grew legs thanks to Rogue. They're such wonderful people. Yeah, what I envisioned as a simple tasting has grown into a beautiful event with hop tours. They even have a little brewery out there, so the head brewer's going to give us a tour of that, and it's on the river, I'm told. I haven't been out there yet, so this will be my first trip.
Independence, Oregon?
That's right.
Okay.
Hop capital of the world once upon a time.
So I'm wondering, when we're drinking craft beer, we don't always know who's behind it, who's making it. This is a great event, though, to find out and, meet the people. But do you think that women bring a different flavor? Is there a difference in what they're doing in the industry?
In the industry, yes, I think so. I mean, it is said, and I'm not dissing any men, that women have a more developed palate than men. So, maybe women have a more discerning taste for what craft beer has to offer, particularly the complex beers with lots of different flavors coming up in the nose and coming out in the middle and then after the finish when you swallow.
Now, if you are not getting enough beer by the glass and through the pairings and through the lectures and all that sort of thing, you can literally bathe in it as well, because you have a guest, Tammy Taggart, right, who will be speaking on making beer soap.
That's right. She apparently uses Rogue Ales and makes soap and other products. So
beer bath.
She's going to show us how she does that, and I hope that she brings some soap that we can take home with us too. Right. And a bomb. And the whole event's going to culminate with the feast, of course. And they're roasting a pig for us and grilling salmon for us.
Oh.
And
we're all drooling.
I know
here.
you had a collective. I don't know how well the microphones picked it up, but you had a collective
in the studio here.
In the studio here, exactly. And so, for people that would be interested in attending this, do they need to be invited? How does it work?
Rogue Ales has tickets for sale on their website at rogue.com. Click the store button. Or you can shoot me an email, Christine@barleysangels.org, and I'll direct you to where to pick up a ticket.
Yeah, barleysangels.org is where you will find the list of speakers and so much more information as well. And I know that you have chapters around the world. I'm sad to see that California is not among them, so we'll have to get one started here because we have some movers and shakers, women in the beer industry for sure. So hey, I just want to thank you so much, Christine, for joining us and talking about this, and I hope your inaugural event goes very, very well.
Well, thanks. I'll have to send you all an invitation for the next event, too.
We'll make it.
Sign us up.
I'll be there in drag. So,
all right.
All right. Thank you, Christine. All right, straight ahead, it's our popular travel deals segment, and this week we welcome Lauren Volchev back to the program. She'll have her top last-minute travel bargain picks for the week. She's always a great guest. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. I'm your host, Randall White, with Patty Pyburn. We are back in just a moment.
You'll never see it.
We are discussing the best way to handle last-minute purchases. When you decide it's a Saturday, you're sort of kicking around the house, and you're like, let's go somewhere. And then you need to get a hotel room. Well, you can get it really cheap if you know where to look and where the bargains are. And that's where our guest now, Lauren Volchev, the Vice President of Marketing for Travel Holding, Inc., also runs a website called lastminutedeals.com. Welcome back to the show, Lauren.
Thanks so much, Randall. Thanks for having me.
So it's not just hotel rooms, it's also cruise lines and several other types of things as well. And it doesn't have to be so last minute as that afternoon, right?
Exactly. We have a lot of really great products. attractions, but as you said, cruises, hotels. So there are 2 cruise deals that I could not pass up telling everybody about today.
All right, let's talk about the Carnival Inspiration. I'm inspired to hear this.
Yeah, so this one goes out of LA.
Sorry, that was bad.
You got 4 nights for $359 per person, so that's only $90 a night.
And that's all your food, your lodging, your transportation, all rolled into that $90.
Exactly. So some of the best thing about these 2 cruise deals is it's almost more expensive to stay at home than it is to go on these cruise lines.
Right. And this leaves out of Los Angeles. What is that? San Pedro there. And, okay, so the first stop is Catalina Island. It almost costs that much just to take the ferry over to Catalina and back.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really great deal.
And then you head down to Ensenada, which is one of the safer Mexico destinations. You know, you're far enough inland at that point that you're not a border town, and it's got lots of flavor and fantastic restaurants as well.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 nights, and then you return back to Los Angeles. So at least one of those days is probably, I'm guessing, the Ensenada back to L.A. is all on board the ship. And those are fun, relaxing days when you're just there on the ship, just eating and sleeping.
Exactly.
So then there's another carnival, and this one's the Splendor.
Correct. So this one is, I think, an even better deal. It's a little bit longer, so we're looking at 7 nights here at $579 per person, so that's $83 per night.
Wow. And I've taken a similar one for this. It's Cabo, Puerto Vallarta. Now, I noticed that it's just Cabo and Puerto Vallarta. Are they skipping Mazatlan now?
Yeah, exactly. It's just those 2 destinations, so you do have that, again, at-sea time to relax, get some sun, just hang out by the pool.
And I was always disappointed the 2 times I took this cruise prior because we spent so little time in Cabo, and I think they heard all the different cruise lines heard a lot of feedback on that. So by removing Mazatlan, I think you get to spend a lot more time there in Cabo, San Lucas, which is great because it's such a beautiful, beautiful destination.
You're exactly right, yep.
Wow, $83 a night. You're right. It's almost more expensive to stay home. All right. So let's talk about some hotels now.
Sure. So I'm kind of highlighting Labor Day, which is coming up, and then also September. So a little bit less last minute, but at the same time, Labor Day is always selling out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
A helpful hint, normally prices in cities are actually going to be the lowest because everybody's trying to get out of the city.
Oh.
If you do get a great resort in the city, enjoy the pool, it's going to be at a great price, but I did manage to find a really great deal in Cabo San Lucas. 5-star hotel, it's 30% off, and it's starting from $103.
Really? And this is at a 5-star hotel? Do you know, is it one of those all-inclusive?
This one is not actually all-inclusive. I do have another 4-star. It seems like right now the prices on the all-inclusives are going to be a little bit higher,
yeah.
And then the ones that aren't are great deals. That 4-star is 25% off, starting from $66 in Cabo San Lucas.
Is the season weird there right now? Like, are we heading into a hurricane season or something? Is that why the prices are so good?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're looking at August, September, for instance, September and late August are going to be lowest in destinations where families or kids would go because everybody's going back to school, and then obviously in destinations affected by weather, whether it's the Caribbean or something like Cabo San Lucas.
Okay, and then you have some hotels in the Vegas area that have a good deal.
Exactly. So we actually have kind of a unique tab on Last Minute Travel. It's a coupon tab, and you actually, through the end of the month, and we refresh it every month, guests to the site can save $20 off of all Las Vegas hotels with any purchase of $300, and then we have a deal, $30 off the Hilton Times Square in New York as well.
I've stayed at that Hilton at Times Square. It's a nice hotel, and you're just right in the heart of everything, and Times Square now is so much cleaner than it was, decades ago, so that's great, depending on how much the bill is. $30 might not even cover taxes, but at any rate, it's $30 you wouldn't have off otherwise. So so that's a good deal. Now, closer to home, down in the beautiful land of Disney, you have some deals in Anaheim and then the other Disney as well over in Orlando.
Yes, like I said, if it's a family-oriented destination, September is a wonderful time to go. Not only are crowds low, lines are short, but the prices are also low as well. So our hotels in Anaheim start at $47. That price,
$47 a night?
Exactly. And that hotel is actually near the Disney area. It's not 5-10 miles away.
Wow, because when you drive up and down 101, a lot of times Motel 6 will have the sign out there that tells you what the price is per night. You don't even see Motel 6 at that rate. So
exactly.
Wow. That is a good deal. In Orlando from $26?
Even cheaper.
Okay, wow. I mean, that $26 a night. That is cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, national parks and icons. We love national parks. Let's quickly go through those.
Yes, so we partnered with a really interesting product that I think does a wonderful job of featuring national parks and really national icons or iconic cities. I mentioned cruise deals before. This is a kind of different type of cruise. It's an air cruise.
Oh.
So it's called the Moeva Air Cruise, and on the Western Wonder Experience, it leaves LA. You're actually using a private plane through private airports. So again, think no lines, no crowds. And you get to see Monterey, San Francisco, Wine Country, Grand Canyon, Bryce National Park, Zion, and then end in Vegas before returning to Los Angeles. So it's a wonderful, wonderful trip. It is under $2,000 per person.
For all of those destinations?
Not only all those destinations, but breakfast and dinner every day, branded hotels, all the attractions, and a tour guide every day.
All right, that's a lot, and that's awesome.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we don't have time to get to the other ones you have here, but people can find these deals located at lastminutedeals.com, correct?
It's actually lastminutetravel.com.
Last Minute Travel. I'm glad you said that. I need to
No
go
problem.
update the link on our website. We'll have to double check to make sure. Maybe I put it in correctly last night.
Yeah, not a problem. So lastminutetravel.com, and there's actually 15% off the Moeva Air Cruise starting on Monday. So I'm kind of giving all your listeners a sneak preview of that sale.
I love it. Lauren Volchev, Vice President of Marketing for Travel Holdings, Inc. It is lastminutetravel.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Randall. Take care.
Okay, this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio brought to you by Kelly's at the Grill at Hunter Ranch. Dine under the oaks, surrounded by beautiful rolling green hills, located just 3 miles from the 101 on 46 East. That is in Paso Robles. Now, stick around because next hour we are taking you on a wild food, beverage, and travel ride using one word. It's our compass word, and this week it is peak, P-E-A-K. We'll have more on that straight ahead. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio.
I'm Patty Pyburn, and here's what's making news this morning. The U.S. is experiencing the worst drought in more than half a century. The Midwest crop belt is taking a heavy hit, and corn prices are at a record high. Prices skyrocketed more than 60% over the last 7 weeks, and the price per bushel is now $8.28. The U.S. Department of Agriculture analysts are expecting more accurate numbers as we get farther into the harvest season. A famous Bay Area tourist destination is reducing its carbon footprint. After 10 years of trial and error, Alcatraz Island is now solar. More than 1,000 photovoltaic panels are on top of the famed cell house that once held the likes of Al Capone. The project was delayed because it was difficult to find a place to install those panels, but now new, smaller, more efficient panels are available. Another concern was the visibility of the panels to the 1.5 million tourists that visit each year. These new, small panels fit on the cell house out of view of the sightseers. The system is expected to meet about 60% of the island's energy needs, and that will save taxpayers money. Craft beer is now expanding faster than any time since the end of Prohibition. The Brewers Association reports there are now more than 2,000 craft breweries in the U.S., more than there have been since, surprisingly, 1890. This number includes 350 new breweries that have opened just in this last year. Now, in addition to creating the tasty brew, craft beer industry is providing employment opportunities in many states. The Department of Labor reporting the craft beer industry is providing more than 100,000 full-time and part-time jobs, an important contribution to the recovering economy. A fleet of tiny NASA satellites are set to take orbit around the Earth, and these shoebox-sized robotic researchers originated in San Luis Obispo. CubeSats are nano satellites, and they were developed at Cal Poly. They are now being produced all over the country. The satellites are used for a variety of space research, including observing distant star systems, and sampling the contents of the upper atmosphere. Their compact size and portability allows them to be sent into space without taking up a lot of cargo space. That makes them more affordable to produce and launch, and a reason that they are popular on NASA missions. A few CubeSats can hitch a ride into space with other payloads, increasing the efficiency of the missions. NASA is seeing this as a future component of space exploration. All right, we are joined now by Nicole Powers with some information about sugary drinks. This is important for parents out there that are available in American public schools.
Yes, thank you, Patty. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation released a study this week that found the availability of soda in public middle and high schools has significantly declined. Despite this progress, however, sugary beverages like fruit and sports drinks still remain. These findings were conducted by looking at schools' competitive beverages. What that is are beverages sold outside of their meal plans, so by way of a vending machine or a snack bar. I spoke with the lead author of the study, and this is what she had to say.
We still had 63% of middle schoolers who could get some type of sugar-sweetened beverage, and almost 90% of high schoolers. Very high percentages. And the majority of that was driven by sports drink availability. The Institute of Medicine has put out some good recommendations for this, and they say, look, bottled water, 100% juices, low-fat milks.
That was Yvonne Terry, Survey Research Associate at the University of Michigan. She is hopeful that the United States Department of Agriculture will use their results as they are currently updating the national standards for competitive foods and beverages in schools. The researchers say while the study shows good results, it also shows that we are not where we need to be.
All right, Nicole, thank you for that update. And taking a look at our weather, showers and thunderstorms lingering in the northeast. Similar situation for the southeast. Florida is expecting showers and thunderstorms. Thunder and lightning may affect the Midwest through much of Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, and some very hot conditions for Phoenix and Las Vegas. In fact, record highs being set there. Also, yeah, Liz, right. Pretty hot in the interior valleys of California. We are feeling the heat on the Central Coast. San Luis Obispo expecting 80s today. So, you know what? That plan of heading to the coast to cool off, well, it's going to be warm there as well. All right, that does it for this edition of Eat, Drink, Explore News. Randall White is up next.
The Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
Well, thank you very much, and a good morning to you. We're glad you can join us at this hour as we discuss things food, beverages, and travel each and every week right here on this station, 9:33 the time. And the topic for this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, the topics are all based on something we call a compass word. And this word, the word this morning, is peak, P-E-A-K. Our segment producers were Googling themselves into a frenzy using the word peak in association with beverages when they stumbled upon Coastal Peaks Roasters located right here on the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo. Now, this coffee company uses fair trade, which we will discuss and explain further, organic beans, and gives a portion of their online sales to various charities. All very cool things that we like. So they made a natural fit for the show this morning. Mike Knight is the founder of Central Coast Roasters, and when I was talking to him on the phone, he says, I've never been called a founder before. But that's what you are, Mike, and welcome to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me, Randall and Miss Patty, and I'm enjoying being here. And yes, I've never been called a founder before. I'm the guy.
How'd you get into the coffee business? What made you make that switch?
I worked for another company for a period of time. I thought I could do it better myself, so I opened or started doing my own business, or started my business in 1989.
1989?
Yeah.
And that was in San Luis?
Grover Beach, actually.
In Grover Beach?
Yeah, I distributed for another local roaster, and then 6 years ago I purchased a competitor who was moving and started roasting myself.
So you're expanding.
Yeah.
And you just opened up a new cafe, which is on South Higuera.
Yes, it's right in front of the roaster, right just south of Prado Road.
So you can smell it then if you get there at the right time when you're doing the roasting of the beans.
You can. If you stand downwind of us when we're roasting, you can smell coffee.
That's such a fantastic smell, and you smell it more and more nowadays in a lot of U.S. cities because the micro-roasting boom has really taken off. And you
certainly has.
And you're sort of riding that wave. I imagine
Yeah.
you know a lot of people in the industry. If it's anything like coffee, if it's anything like beer and wine, everyone sort of shares ideas with each other. And so, why do you think micro roasting has become such a big deal?
Well, people are looking just like beer and wine. They're looking for the best that they can possibly get. So it's completely different what their grandmothers or grandfathers were drinking back in their day.
And they love to know that it's made, within arm's reach.
It is, and we're actually the only coffee roaster in the city of San Luis Obispo, but there are several other roasters within the county itself.
And so when you walk into your favorite coffee place and you order a blend, and they always ask you, well, which blend would you like? And I always think, oh, gosh, I don't know. You'll see sometimes there's a dark roast, sometimes there's a medium bodied, and you're starting to see more and more blondes or lighter roasts. Is it just the amount of time that it's kept cooking?
Yes, it is. General roast, and we roast about 45 pounds of green coffee at a time. It takes between 17 and 19 minutes per roast. The more time, the darker the roast that you will get on there. If it's a single bean, it's a single varietal. If it's a blend, it's 2 or more.
And it changes more than just the taste, right? There are
the characteristics of that particular varietal itself.
There's chemical things that are happening within the bean that changes the amount of caffeine you can absorb as well, right?
Yes, that does happen like that. There are 2 species of coffee trees. There's Robusta and there's Arabica, which what we roast, and that's grown at higher elevations. Better tasting, has more body to it than what we'd call the commercial grade coffees.
And that's primarily grown in South America?
Well, no. Actually, it grows along the equator from Cancer to Capricorn. Central America, South America, Indonesia, and Africa
are the areas where they grow Arabica beans.
Yes.
And Robusta is what's the
also
difference?
Grown in the same area.
Okay, what's the difference character-wise between those beans?
Well, Robusta is mainly what you'd find in the commercial grade coffees. It does have more caffeine.
Oh.
The higher soil, climate, and elevation are the 3 determining factors and the characteristics of that particular varietal.
And then you can blend them any way you want, right? You don't have
Yes,
to have
you can.
100% of one or the other.
You do not. In fact, that's what we specialize in, is creating a blend for a particular restaurant or retail.
Now, those of you listening in the San Luis Obispo area will be familiar with some of the restaurants serving Coastal Peaks Roasters coffee. One of my favorites, as a matter of fact, which is Big Sky Cafe.
Yes.
Also Novo. Actually, 2 of my
Novo.
favorite restaurants.
There you go. Absolutely.
You've managed to get into some of the good ones here in
Sure,
town.
we do. We have Luna Red, Cafe Roma, Froggy's, Splash. We have a lot of the local restaurants.
Right.
We go as far south as Solvang.
You go as far, how about north?
North, up the coast to Cambria and inland to Paso.
Nothing up in like Monterey,
No.
Santa Cruz.
It's all delivered weekly, so we like to keep the driving time hopefully to a minimum.
But you do ship because you've got
We do.
online business.
You can go online and purchase it.
And where you've teamed up with some charities, and is it 20% of online sales?
Yes, it is.
20% of online sales currently go where?
Right now, it's Fisher House is one of our main charities, and that is it's similar to McDonald's house, but for the military families who have an injured shoulder, a soldier, and the families can actually stay in this housing free of charge.
Are there any others?
Oh no, that's our main
That's
one.
the main one right now. Okay, so on your website, which you self-admittedly said the other day needs a little bit of updating.
It does.
But
we
I
don't
like
get on
it
it too often.
I couldn't tell. So you do. So let's give people that are listening right now, no matter where they're buying their beans, there are some ways they can treat the beans that will give them the best flavor in their cup. Correct?
There is. First of all, you when you buy your beans, you never want to keep it for more than 4 weeks. 4 weeks is a stale date.
That's top.
Yes, it is. Now, storage. You want to keep it in an airtight container in your cupboard. You do not want to put it in your refrigerator or your freezer.
I wish we had a buzzer sound right now because there's so many people looking at their radio or watching online, however they're doing it, going, "What? I've been putting it in the freezer and refrigerator for years."
Don't
Why
want to
is
do
that?
Well, if you store it in the freezer, the moisture in that bean will crystallize and it'll affect the taste of that particular coffee. And if you're storing it in the refrigerator next to an onion, it's going to absorb that onion.
Oh, I never thought of that. Patty just got a horrible look on her face because A, I know she uses a lot of onions, and B, she keeps it in her refrigerator. So Patty, stop it. Now, in terms of making it, I have an automatic brewer. I grind it the night before. I put it in there. It starts brewing while I'm sleeping, so I can get up to my coffee.
That's fine.
That's fine doing it that way?
Yes.
But some people insist on using a French press.
You can use a French press, and we have at the cafe, you can select a French press if you'd like. I don't particularly like it. I like my coffee just a little bit hotter, but French press is a great way to go. We also have...
that's where you literally like push the water through the beans, right?
After it has absorbed the coffee, you can press it down and consume it right at that time.
I just went to a place called Coffeetopia, which is it's in Santa Cruz. Darn, I can't think of the name of the street, but it starts with a P. Ricardo, do you know it?
Portola.
Portola. And they do where they pour it over the beans. They
yes, we do that.
And you do that too. I'm seeing that in more and more places.
You will. If you go up to San Francisco, that's just about all they do in a specialty coffee shop, and we have that as well here.
Blue Bottle Coffee up there, if you had theirs.
Just was there last weekend.
It is so delicious. We did a video piece on theirs that we haven't put together yet, but I got to do
I like to check out our competitors.
Of course, And when I was in the brewing industry, I checked out the competitors as often as I could.
Absolutely. Got a sample.
That's right. But it was fun. They're at their location near Jack London Square. I sat there every morning. They do where they take a spoon of it and go, and
that's a cupping.
A cupping. That's what it was called, and it was fun. I learned a lot through that process. Okay, so now let's talk fair trade.
Okay,
I am the type. I spend a little bit more when I'm shopping because I feel better about it. Why do I feel better about it? What is the whole fair trade process?
Well, it's an organization that actually was developed to help the families that are growing that particular coffee. Most of the economies are grown in third world economies along the equator there. So any way that we can help them, they can. And they provide not just growing assistance, but educational benefits for their children as well.
Good. Education.
So you're going to pay a little bit more, which we pay a little bit more for that coffee as well.
Right. And so education, housing in some cases,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And so that they're not getting a nickel a day or whatever it might be. Who checks on that? Who makes sure? When I buy fair trade, how do I know it was really
well? That
done?
Organization, it is their responsibility to go down there and check just to make sure that money's going to the right places and what have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now there are a number of fruits and vegetables on a list called the Dirty Dozen when you're considering buying organic. Strawberries are among them. Apples are on the list. You really want to choose organic. There's also something called the Clean 15, which are 15 that, if it's between organic and not organic, you're not so bad going with the conventional growing. Where does coffee fall in terms of organic? Is it like a heavily pesticide? Does it need a lot of pesticides to grow? Where is it?
Well, if it's organic, they're not going to use any type of herbicides or pesticides. So the growing areas are free of anything that they're going to introduce into that might taint that particular coffee. So if it's organic, it has to be labeled organic, and it has to be inspected to make sure that they'll test the soil and they'll test the fruit itself, and they'll make sure that there has been no pesticides used in the ground or on the trees themselves. And
you sell blends of both fair trade.
We do, and conventional.
And organic. Yes. So you can get anything you like. Mike Knight, he is the founder of Coastal Peaks Roasters, and your website, we of course provide a link at eatdrinkexplore.com, but it's Coastal Peaks Roasters, as you might imagine.com. It's that easy. Mike, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.